Good morning, Dorothy. Welcome to All Things Moore County. For those of you old enough, that instrumental was very easy to recognize. John Denver's Poems, Prayers, and Promises.
Yep.
And beautiful song, and it has as much application today as it did when it was written. And there's a reason for the instrumental, and there's a reason for the title of the show. And it all has to do with my guest, Abigail Lopez, who I've had the privilege of having a front row seat in watching her these last 12 years. Through her trials, her tribulations, her successes, frustrations, and kind of I've stood in admiration of a lot of things about her. We're going to talk about the 12 years, and we're going to talk about yesterday, and we're going to then talk about today and tomorrow. When did you know, during your high school education, that you were going to move on to a career that would eventually land you as a doctor of occupational therapy? How did that? Because you went to UNC.
Yeah.
Tell me about the whole process, because you got a scholarship.
Yes, I did. I first want to touch on you saying, like, when did I know?
Yeah.
I never, so I always had a dream to be an occupational therapist. Occupational therapists often work with people with disabilities, and my youngest brother, Elias, has Down syndrome and autism, and so that's, how I got really interested and passionate for that. But the education of it, like, you need a master's at least to practice in it. And that seemed so daunting. So even though I made up my mind, like, at 7 years old, I was like, I want to be an occupational therapist. Like, this is what I want to do.
Your relationship with your youngest brother, Elias.
Yeah, Eli.
Eli. So you guys are very close.
Oh, yeah.
How old is he now?
He's 19.
That's hard to believe.
I know, isn't it hard to believe? Oh, but yes. He was, we shared a room growing up, me, my mom, and Eli. Yeah, he's been my best friend always. He's my inspiration for everything. I wouldn't have gotten into the career if it wasn't him for anything.
So he was part of your initial, or your strong,
Yeah.
Okay. How did you, without having the promise of having something at the end of the rainbow, how did you get up every day? What was your thought process? What were you trying to build in your head? How did, fill me in on all of that?
So, two things. I want to say my faith, but I'll come back to that. First, when you were saying, like, having different means of kids in my school, that took a toll on my confidence, but mostly because, like, some of the houses we would clean would be students that I went to school with. So I would be, like, knocking on their door being like, excuse me, can I come clean your bathroom? And these are kids that I sit beside in math class. And so, like, that dynamic, a lot of the kids were very nice, and, they didn't make jokes at school or whatever the case was, but that definitely took a toll on my confidence and my ability to,
That you didn't belong, or that you...
Yeah, or in high school when social standing is everything, and, like...
Right.
Yeah.
So where did you get the resolve to fight through it?
I was raised that way.
Yeah, you were.
My mom, she had 6 kids in a full-time job. Like, she's just showed me what it was like to pivot and wake up and get at it and do all of it some way, somehow. And her fight every day. And like I say, I shared a room with my mom and Eli, so I saw it up and close firsthand, like, just getting up and doing all of it. So really, just my mom, seeing her as a role model really inspired me to be able to do that. Yeah. So I began I applied only to Duke at the time. And I didn't think that I would get in. I was like, oh, shit,
How can, first question is, how could you even afford to look at Duke?
Right.
Financially.
So I didn't even know. I honestly didn't know how much, because I hadn't paid it at UNC. I didn't really know in over my head, but when I got in, and then I kind of looked at the finances of everything, and they offered a partial scholarship, which was nice. And then I took out some loans for the rest. But I was able to. So I'm currently a live-in nanny, and so to a 21-year-old boy with Down syndrome, autism, and epilepsy, Joshua.
Hmm.
And so I've lived with them for 3 years while I've been at Duke University.
So how did you
Hmm.
make that happen? Because now you have your board, room and board, being paid
Yes,
for.
and food. Bless the Lord.
So how did that all happen?
Honestly, it just all happened in line. I mean, I really appreciate it. Really feels like a blessing. But I was just scrolling through care.com. I knew that I wouldn't be able to afford room and board and everything going to school there. I mean,
Right.
so then I was like, okay, well, I can be a live-in nanny because I nannied and I cleaned houses all through UNC and all through school. So I was like, I can do this.
Hmm.
And so then I applied and I found the family and we matched up, and I've lived there for 3 years. They're an amazing family.
So
To
you,
finally work the job that I dreamed of as a child. So yeah, so I'm gonna start submitting applications to hospitals and based upon like patient populations that I want to see, because I want to see a variety of patients like initially coming out of school, because as you go on with your career, typically you would specialize. I would want to see pediatrics, geriatrics, people with disabilities, and
you
then some fractures above the waist.
you would the written word was important to you, and you were very expressive,
Mm-hmm.
and you would always try to bring the people into your circle who you cared for, and you were very caring to them.
Mm-hmm.
The prayers come from your faith and your deep-seated beliefs.
Yes. So I was
Somet-
blessed to be raised in.
yeah,
Yeah.
in spite of sometimes what the environment may have
Yeah.
thrown your way.
And that's the only way you can, you know what I mean? You have to have some sense of something that you
Hmm.
believe in and resiliency in this world. Life's too hard.
But the discipline to do that, not a lot of people have that discipline because you've got to do it consistently all the time.
Well, my mom showed me that. She was very disciplined about her faith and spirituality, so I was able to see that.
The promises
Mm-hmm.
come from the discipline you've shown, and you've had a backdrop of adversity and obstacles, and yet you never let it sully your view of the world. You chose to be optimistic and always look at the possibilities and the openings and the light,
Mm-hmm.
not the darkness,
Mm-hmm.
and you will your way through it, right?
Yeah. That's because of my mom and my brother. I mean, that's how my mom sees the world, and Eli too. So, like, just always looking at that hope and finding the positive things in life. So.
Let's